Peace, peace, virtual family. 1111, welcome to another episode of the Yo Soy Mi Cura series en Instagram via Bienestar.Wellbeing. Just waiting for some of you to come and join us. And a special our guest for today, mi hermana, mi amiga, Ysanet Batista. Hoy es viernes y el cuerpo lo sabe, Ysanet, sí. Ya te veo, mi hermana, por aquí, te voy a invitar. ¿Cómo nos va con la tecnología? Sí.
Mis AirPods porque
Te veo bien. Perdón, Ysanet, dices otra vez que no te escuché.
que me voy a poner los audífonos para hablar porque mi niña se está durmiendo.
Excelente. Excelente. Usualmente antes de estos lives lo pongo a dormir a Noriel y hoy no fue así. Hoy está despierto y en vivo y en directo. En cualquier momento puede,
Okay.
puede abrir y decir, dame eso de lo mío. Y ni modo. Ahí voy a tener que jugármela. Qué rico. Entonces, Isamar está dormida. Bendiciones para ella.
Está con alguien tratando de dormirse.
Ok. Pues le damos la bienvenida a aquellas personas que que están entrando por ahí. Le estoy mandando un wave. Y presentes en estas realidades de motherhood. Ysanet y yo, muy presentes.
Sí.
Pero bienvenida Ysanet. Como sabes, te quiero, te admiro,
Igual.
te escucho. Y aprendo mucho de ti, a veces por ti y a veces porque Saudi me dices cosas de ti. Pero como quiera el mensaje llega.
Bueno.
Que
Igual.
Igual.
Yo estaba ayer, tú me mandaste algo por Facebook y estaba como viendo todos los mensajes que nos hemos mandado a través de los años.
Ajá.
Y yo dije, wow, ni cuántas cosas que hablamos que se han manifestado. Y
eso es sensacional.
sí, tú hablaste de querer comenzar algo como bienestar. Yo hablé de querer mudarme para acá. Como hablamos de todo eso y todo se ha cumplido de alguna manera u otra.
Manifested and the flesh. Eso es tan importante lo que tú acabas de decir y ahora me da curiosidad por ir a leer esos mensajes. Yo también, porque a veces el tener un vision board, usamos eso, a veces como que es la cosa que uno ve. Pero mira, yo escribí eso, pero los mensajes entre amigos son geniales, uno ve como el tono de la voz, incluso de uno, como que uno lo dice como con un chin de miedo, como que yo quiero esto, pero ¿cómo se va a dar?
Y fue así que yo te decía, mira, estoy pensando tomar este paso, ya que tú lo has tomado, puedes hablar conmigo también. Es muy interesante porque tú estás ahora mismo haciendo esta campaña para expandir bienestar. Y yo en ese momento, cuando te había mandado como mi spiel, que se lo mandé como un par de gentes por Facebook Messenger, porque Instagram en ese entonces no era tan popular, y era como, hi friends and family, I'm fundraising to open a bed and breakfast called Mama Tingo in the Dominican Republic, where Dominicans and Haitians own it, and I was like so excited. Y ese enlace ni funciona ya, porque esa plataforma para recaudar fondos no existe, porque no era GoFundMe, era como You Caring. Y sí, ahí tú me comenzaste a hablar, pero yo no sé si tú te acuerdas de mí, Angie, porque yo te vengo conociendo desde que yo estaba en la universidad.
Sí, me acuerdo que me invitaste a un panel.
Sí. Y yo,
ahí fue que nos conocimos.
Yo te conocí, bueno, Diagneris fue que me recomendó, me dijo, tú deberías invitar a Angie. Ella siempre me daba como, tú tienes que invitar a esta persona in Providence. And I remember when I first met you, I was like in love. I was like, oh, that is who I want to be when I grow up. Yes. Y ahora mi pensar de ti, la relación que tenemos es tan diferente, es más como, más igual. Sí, it's not like this, like, of course. This like, oh my God, that's my hero. But I still, I
never noticed, and yes. I never thought, and thankfully, you know, it was always cool. It was always from a mutual aquí level siempre. Pero tú estabas en tu undergrad.
Yes,
y eso a veces hace que sí.
Yeah,
sí.
I was.
Sí,
yo creo que yo estaba tal vez como en mi segundo, mi tercer año de la universidad. Yo estaba estudiando Hospitality Management. Yo tenía unas metas grandes de trabajar en una cadena de hotel grande, de ser como una ejecutiva, y tú siempre te veías como on point. Pues, a mí me encantaba que tú tenías tu cabello así natural. Siempre tenías como the flyest suit. I loved how you would always like come and your smile would like, you know, just like radiate the room. You also worked at an office that was near my school too.
I worked for Johnson & Wales for some time.
Yes. Which was like an office that not a lot of people knew. I remember when, ¿quién era? ¿Cómo se llamaba? Jerry
Fernandez.
Ajá, no sé quién me invitó, pero alguien me invitó a conocerlo. Yes. Alguien me invitó a conocerlo. They're like, you should meet this person. Yeah. Wow, so yes. So point is, to the people who are watching this, is that Angie and I go way back. Angie y yo tenemos un recorrido medio largo en esta vida.
Sí, we do. And in that setting, I was very much there with you with like this corporate image, right? Like, this is the way you present yourself. And and since I'm not sure if it was for you like that, but my mom in particular, you know, we're very focused on what you were to work.
Yes.
You know, that sort of define your success. Like, el uniforme es que define, you know, de dónde tú llegaste. So the moment that I was finally at a job, after working for Family Dollar, working, you know, at the car wash, working with all of these things, when I got to the U.S., you know, we're not knowing the language and all of the things that, you know, the typical immigrant pathway. The moment that I finally got to work at an office and wear that suit, and you know, and put those pantyhose, I'm like, oh, I made it.
Yes.
You know, this is it.
Yeah. That's how I felt too.
At that moment, that felt really real. And being in that panel, being invited, you know, to talk in these panels was like, for sure, I made it.
Yes. Yes, like you are being invited to speak to this younger generation about how you broke the glass ceiling, porque en ese entonces esa esa era como la temática de todo. Women breaking the glass ceiling, especially as Latinas. Like Latinas breaking the glass ceiling. Then it was also then this other theme of like as Afro-Latinas having this balance of like, we can wear hair natural, we can have hips and be in our suits. Esa era como el gran orgullo. Like, we made it. We're wearing our hair natural. We're wearing these pencil skirts or these suits, and you can see that we have hips porque somos dominicanas o somos caribeñas, or we could wear our hoops. This is before AOC was wearing her hoops with her suits. We were the original. Y sí, yo ahora mismo yo trabajo para una organización que se llama the Latinx Racial Equity Project, y I do communications for them. And one of the things that I get to do in my role is that I write personal essays to connect with our audience, so they can be, it's a lot of people from Latin America that are living in the United States and are really wanting to be in this like practice of how to heal anti-Blackness, how to not engage in Native erasure, so like really how to uplift Indigenous and Black and Black stories. So right now I'm writing a story where I'm talking about being in college and planning and being in summer planning the fall Hispanic Heritage Month lineup, and how like excited and how intentional I was, and how like I would wear my suits because I wanted to be seen as like, I wanted my professionalism and my leadership to really stand out. And that was so like crucial and important to me. But really at the root of it, like behind all of that, was a young Black girl, a young negrita, that was trying to prove that she was enough.
Yes.
That even if she had this Dominican accent or this, or this curly hair, that despite all of that, I was still worthy of entering spaces that were predominantly ran by white people and by people in power. So I'm writing about that right now. It's me está tomando a lot of this.
Sí,
pero mucho esto.
It's interesting though that you say we are pioneers about this glass ceiling, as just being in these corporate spaces and feeling like, whoa, okay, I can get used to this. And honestly, to MFHA and travel in the US, like I got to see so many people that look like us in those powerful positions, right? Driving the flight cars, driving and going to with the CEO and the private jets, like these things happening como una vaina que le pasa a cualquiera, right? And for a moment you're like, okay, what is everybody complaining about?
Right.
Like, all you have to do is just go to college, get your education, work hard, and you can make it too. And for a moment, you felt like I was there, and it felt like I definitely alienated myself from some of this, from being in the front lines. Saudi was one that that was so patient and kind with me, and we dragged me and carried me like, Angie, hay otras realidades, ¿verdad? Sí. And we would go to New York to these protests, and she will be telling me about being in the front lines, basically being like confronted by police. I'm not sure if other people are getting this, Ysanet, but your face just froze on me, so just want to make sure that vamos a darte un espacio a ver si el internet. Oh yeah, we lost her, so she'll be back. Pero for a while, hearing about people being in the front lines, protesting for equality, and even now, this very vivid conversations that are happening right now about Dominicans and Haitians and the border issue is not new, but it's just is hitting yet another informational overload. And here I am in my wearing my corporate hat and traveling and having just a very different experience, feeling like, what are people complaining about? Like, just do what you're supposed to do, and and everything's going to work out for you. And that's why having people that are grounded, that can ground you and can offer, let me just make sure that if she is there, I can invite her, is crucial for your overall well-being, honestly. And just like Saudi was talking about yesterday, talking from a place of anger, feeling like you have to go out there and just fight and be angry about everything that's going on, is also not the route. But believing that everything is the way you are experiencing is also not the route. So I was just reiterating, Ysanet, how having Saudi and you and my trips to New York to your house were always so grounding for me, because yo me por ese mismo querer de succeed, de ser la hija que Margarita crió, de haber take advantage, of all the immigrant hardships will make sense. Would, that all of the battles were fought for a purpose. Sí. Yo quería quedarme aquí en este espacio donde yo no tenía ya que sentirme, triste y mal por lo que le estaba pasando a mi gente.
Sí, no, igual para mí, yo sentía mucha responsabilidad encima, y también al ver a mi familia sentirse tan orgullosa de mí, ejerciendo esta carrera. Yo me acuerdo cuando yo comencé mi primer trabajo, yo me gradué de la universidad y comencé a trabajar en the Hilton Waldorf Astoria on 50th and Park Avenue.
Yes, the Waldorf Astoria, I remember. It's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
Yes.
I was the talk of
beautiful. Oh my God, that building is stunning.
Mi tía decía, no, tiene que ir a Ysanet. Ella se pone unos chalecos, unos pantalones, y ella se levanta temprano. Y ella se va a su trabajo.
Hell yeah.
Ay, ¿quién diría?
Oh yeah.
So when I left that job, and I was like, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go explore what else I want to do. Yeah. They're like, ay, Dios mío, esta muchacha. Ay, Dios mío. Like, I was like, but I needed to, because there was a voice behind, inside my head that was like, this is not it, sis. Yeah. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. I know you worked really hard. And in college, I was so, like, similarly to you, it was like, if we just try really hard, if we get the education we need, todos podemos.
Yeah.
Yo no sabía, yo no tenía el lenguaje, yo no tenía la información de que habían otros poderes que no permitían a nuestra gente progresar. Mm. Yo decía, bueno, mírame a mí, yo soy el ejemplo. Si yo puedo, todo el mundo puede. Sí. And I alienated a lot of people because of that mentality. I hurt people in my life because I was like, I would say things like, you have to dress for the job you want, not for the job you have.
Yes.
And so I had to do a lot of reckoning with my own shit, my own anti-Blackness, my own, like, what they call bootstrap mentality, that if you just, pull yourself together, then that's all it takes to get through.
Sí. For the person that commented.
Oh yeah.
We will do our best, but there's some things
like,
que va a ser en español
and translate it to English. I'm like, I don't know who's here. Okay, I'll speak in English.
No, eso en Spanglish a veces, Ysanet, because at the end of the day, there's some things that, yes, English flows, but there are a lot of other things that are so
Sí,
are
I
just
cannot
no
translate
se
my
pueden
family's
traducir.
voice. Como yo,
South
como
is
yo,
very good at this.
yeah, like how am
South
I
goes
gonna
back
do
and
the
forth, and
voice
I'm like,
in
I can't keep
English?
up.
Yes.
Pero Ysanet, just to sort of also, for those of you that have just joined, both Ysanet and I live and reside here and the Dominican Republic after getting our education in the States, after feeling like we were on top of our game in our respective careers and positions. We left. We were like, we're out. And not necessarily we're like, yo no sé tú. I feel like I had a very, I had a plan, but
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
have a plan. Right?
Yes.
There was a plan, but it was very much fragile,
Yeah.
I should say. It was fragile. And the one thing that I knew that I wasn't going to do, and one of the things that I feel that a lot of the people, some people may retire to come to the DR and then leave after a few months or even a year, is because they have romanticized what they left behind, and they believe that they're going to come back here and get and just jump back to to that space called cafecito with the neighbor, and the children in the street, and the guy that that drives by with the fresh bread, and everything is love. I came here with like, okay, what is here? What is it that I have to adjust to? What is the reality of the people that live here? And we had to basically create a mechanism for how we were going to stay safe, for how we were going to navigate, at what time of the day we are out, at what time of the day we make sure that we are in closed doors, like all of these things that we actually discussed because we're here in the city of Santo Domingo. So how was it for you before coming and then being here? Were your expectations, have things turned out as you expected, better? Anything on that?
Yeah, so I would say that this is my move to the R take two, because I first moved here after college. I graduated 2013. I moved here in 2014, and initially I just came back for a few months because I was supposed to. I got accepted to the Peace Corps. I was gonna go do 2 years in the Peace Corps, but then when I came, I was like, yo no me voy de aquí. And yeah, I don't need to go to Costa Rica. This is perfect. But at the time, yeah, I feel like this island really gives you some hard battles como para ver si tú tienes la fuerza de vivir aquí. I see that with Dominicans from the diaspora. I see it with foreigners. And like, even if you have the most privilege, the most money, this island has a way of like really testing you. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm not mad at it. And so
Okay.
I came and I was working for an NGO, and I had a lot of things happen for me. First, it was I transitioned to natural hair. That's when Miss Visos had her first salon in la zona colonial. Very little. Very little.
Yes.
Like Carolina was still doing hair.
Yes.
And I remember I transitioned my natural hair.
Wow.
I was going to the beach and not worrying about getting like suntan. So that was like a big no-no in my family.
Yes.
I remember like I was healing from a really hard breakup, and I also like allowed myself to be young, because like in college, I was like the president of my sorority. I was the president of this, the officer of that, and I had like a specific persona to uphold. So then coming here to DR, como que aquí nadie me conocía, porque I didn't move back to my family's home. I moved back to a town where I didn't really know anyone. Yeah. Like my people were my coworkers, and my coworkers didn't really know the old version of Ysanet. So I was able to show up however I wanted to show up. And so yeah, so that was cool, like being able to come here and kind of reinvent myself, or
Yes.
grow into consciousness at my own pace without any preconceived notions of anyone. And that was also when I got really sick here, because my body wasn't used to the water. My body wasn't used to whatever microbes were in the air. So I got like salmonella and amoeba and brucella, todos los parásitos me dieron.
Wow.
And that's when I transitioned to like more plants, like la doña donde yo vivía me preparó una batida de lechosa, ajo, las semillas de lechosa, me echó mango para que el ajo no tuviera tan fuerte, y un chin de miel. Y eso fue what knocked out the parasites, because the antibiotics were just not working.
Eso es una cura. Déjame agarrar esta receta ahora mismo. Okay,
man.
So wait,
Papaya
seeds is what? Papaya?
Really do it. It's really the right? Papaya seeds and the garlic.
It's papaya seeds, garlic,
honey,
some mango
y lechosa.
And then honey.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
And the mango and then the honey is just to like, porque a veces el ajo está, tú sabes, puede picar un poquito fuerte. Okay. Entonces, sí, lechosa and garlic. And so from there, you know, I started like exploring more plant-based foods, like really buying things de los camiones que pasaban por aquí. And I love like little things. I love going to the colmado and not having money and being like, yo puedo coger Sofía. I like, which means in English is like, can I pay you back later? It's like an IOU. And they're like, yeah, sure. Because at that point, like, they see me, like, they know I live, they can come to my house and charge me. Yeah. And I was like, I romanticized like a lot, not romanticized, but I was just really like, oh my God, I feel like I'm really connected to my culture, to my roots, to the way of living. And then like 6 or 7 months in, the government passes TC 1 something, la sentencia, what we call a sentencia. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing my neighbors being put in behind trucks. I'm seeing my colleagues being taken out of the classrooms. I worked at a educational nonprofit. I'm seeing my colleagues being taken out of classrooms and being taken to the border. And the ED of my organization is having to like run to go like basically speak on their behalf and rescue them. I'm seeing
what year
military.
was this, Ysanet?
This was 2014.
2014. So she's referring to an immigration bill that basically allowed the government to remove Haitians living in Dominican Republic soil, to deport them from wherever they were at.
Whether they had their cédula or not, because if they had their cédula, they would tell them it was fake. So like this was like, I was seeing pregnant women that estaban sacando de su casa sin los zapatos, no dejaban ni poner los zapatos, and I was like, what the fuck? This is wild. And I just was like, why? I don't understand. It was so inhumane. And I say that's kind of when like my urge to like, I want to organize. I want to understand why this is happening, and I don't even care why it's happening. I want to make sure that this shit doesn't happen. Yeah. So a lot of consciousness was coming up. It was like transitioning to natural hair, transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle, realizing that, you know, I really love my culture, even like those small, like inundane moments, like coger cosa fiá. Yeah. And also that there were systems at play that were evil, were corrupt. And I wanted to understand why it was happening, what was the history behind it, and how could I support, how could I organize, like beyond, because I was working for educational nonprofit, and it was like education is the key to these problems. And I'm like, no, but education is esa mujer que the military is literally pulling her out of her house. She's pregnant. She don't even have her shoes on. Her kids are screaming, "Mommy, where are you going?" How is education gonna solve that? Yeah. So a lot of like what I call coming to Jesus moments. Like, okay. So then I ended up returning to New York. I end up landing in the home of Javier Maria Lopez, who you know, and she really kind of took me under her wing. And because I asked, and I was like, I want to organize, I want to learn, I want to understand. And she pointed me in the direction of some great organizations. I went through the Undoing Racism workshop with the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. I was doing work within. When I came back, I was working with. I was doing an AmeriCorps program at 2 schools in the Bronx, and I was doing what they call service learning. So I basically curated all of like my service learning around what I was learning. And at the time, this is when the Black Lives Matter movement was also like really taking flight, like nationally and globally. And so I became a little more involved in different protests. And simultaneously, because I was used to my life in DR, like having access to lechosa y mango y vegetales y la playa, that even though I was like so angry about what was happening, yo estaba también taking care of myself, como sin saber que eso era cuidarme, sin saber que ir a la playa a nadar después de un pique era self-care, que sin saber que la dieta que yo estaba comiendo me estaba ayudando a tener la fuerza emocional y mental para lo que yo estaba, for what I was witnessing. Sí. And so when I went back to New York, not having access to those things, being around so much concrete, having to walk up 5th floor to a 5th floor walk-up apartment every single day, being in a school, you know, I'm going from working in DR, working in a school where si yo quería tener clase en el patio, yo podía. And if my students wanted to come visit Profe Ysanet to talk about something related, they could come, and it wasn't like I wasn't gonna get in trouble for some code of conduct thing. Right. So then coming to work in the New York public school system, where the schools look like prisons, was really hard for me, and I had to lean back to my practices. So that's when I started Woke Foods. I'm like, okay, we have to stay woke about all the injustices, all the systems of oppression that are happening. But what I was learning in all these trainings around racism was that race was really created to create a capitalist system where Europeans could accumulate wealth using our lands and using the bodies of indigenous people and enslaved African people. Mm-hmm. So I was like, so at the root of todo problema is the land. And growing crops to sell. And the reason why the elite and the power that exists today started there, and started with my people, that what they call Española, or, you know, indigenously known as Agiti, although some people call it Quisqueya, was the beginning. Like, we were the guinea pig for this experiment called racial capitalism. And from there, I was like, okay, let's go. So Woke Foods was like, I want to go to the root of it. I want to learn how to grow my own food. I want to cook that food. I want to really bring like the food that is growing in local urban farms here in New York City, and really also bring our cultural plátanos, chuca, guandules, you know, like our cultural foods. I wanted to bring them together, and then also put a plate in front of people y vamos a hablar de tu problema. Come bien, Pero es para que te abra la mente.
That's the way to the heart, to the real heart.
Yes.
That you're trying to get to. And, you know, and when what folks drop was like a bomb.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was in everyone's mouth that, you know, your face in that article in the New York Times was just like, I mean, nosotros no veíamos todito en ti.
Yeah.
Todito.
I remember being like, I had never experienced something like that where people like knew who I was. And it was interesting because I wasn't trying to do anything that big. I was just really doing this little side project to support my mental and spiritual health, like mental, spiritual, and physical health. That's all I was trying to do. And I was also trying to create like trying to support this larger movement where I'm seeing like my comrades being burnt out. I'm seeing my comrades pasando hambre, like after protests, like eating foods that are just like really bringing them down energetically. And I was like, no, tenemos que tener una alternativa. Tenemos que tener la comida de nuestra gente. We have to have the food of our people that is also going to nourish us and strengthen us to do this organizing work for the long term, for the long haul. Because I was reading and I was learning about people like Sala and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and so many organizers. Like, I was like, yeah, they were doing this for years. And I was like, we're not going to make it if we are not nourishing our bodies appropriately. And what better way to nourish ourselves than ancestrally and with whole foods from the land?
Yes, yes. You said so much there. Really, really the path to healing, you know, for it comes full circle for me. I sort of had to, there was no one around me sort of having these conversations. Well, I think it was Miguel who introduced me to Dr. Sebi, and that's how I got to sort of hear.
If you go back to our chat, you were like, you wrote to me, have you heard about the Dr. Sebi alkaline diet? This was 2017. You wrote that to me.
I was all Dr. Sebi, you know. I did. I went cold turkey, you know, head first vegan alkaline with Dr. Sebi, but it was because it spoke to the this chemically alignment of the foods that were original to our people. Mm-hmm. He talked about the food that was going to give us the nourishment to be black, to stay healthy. You know, it was something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully, I don't think I'm misrepresenting his legacy, but it was so much about how our cells and his research, going back to Africa, going into Latin America, because he was from Honduras.
Yes.
But this was the food that was in alignment with us. It wasn't all this processed food. It wasn't this dairy. It wasn't, but and you know that his list is sort of fairly strict.
Yes.
You know, these are the amounts of fruits. This is the amount of vegetables. It's
not
just
any plátano. It's burro plátano.
Right, exactly. Tiene que ser burro, because he was very anti-hybrid.
Yeah.
And you know, and here is Ysanet, you know, you would think, okay, we're both in the Dominican Republic, we will have access to just the most organic, you know, mangoes and aguacates, and then we come here, we're like, no. This is hybrid food. These are plátanos that we don't even know how they got that way.
I don't remember.
And fruits being como ¿cómo se dice? Como madurado obligado.
I don't remember the last time. That's not true. I encountered un limón con semillas about 5 months ago. Y cuando yo vi que ese camión tenía su limón, ¿dónde tú conseguiste esos limones? Where'd you find those limes? Like, are you gonna? But the next week he came back and he had seedless limes.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a rare thing.
It's happening here, y'all. It's happening here in the DR as well. I want to be mindful of the time limitations that we have with this live, Ysanet, to get at that. I'm hearing cures that you're dropping there, but to sort of solidify some very key things that I want to get from this message of the Yo Soy Mi Cura series, because you mentioned the I got that, and I will put that in the comment for everybody. But then you mentioned the sort of trajectory of getting the right information, getting to the source, and getting con la gente through the people, through the. I'm glad that you mentioned the People's Institute and that transformative workshop with Ron. I'm not sure if Ron was at yours, but
no, he wasn't at mine. Ron is the OG.
It's just incredible people that hopefully are taking care of themselves, because you said that the journey is really long. The Black Lives Matter movement, and how you got to understanding the root of this racial capitalism. Toda esta información, tú estás, now nourishing your comrades, as you say. I feel like all of these components healed. What did those things heal in you?
Yeah, I also want to uplift La Sala, which is the group where I meet Saudi, and I meet her, and we're like, it's a group of like 5 first and second generation Dominican women, all really wanting to have conversations around how to heal our people, how to heal our families, how to heal ourselves. I also want to uplift, we are all Dominican, who was really the people spreading information about La Sentencia and how to combat misinformation around our Haitian brothers and sisters. And so what was that healing? It was healing, like I mentioned, it was healing subconscious thoughts that, even though I was still community organizing, I still had some subconscious thoughts and beliefs and ideas that were, that were rooted in what a lot of people today call, and it is what we're supposed to call it, but like white supremacy culture. That white is the best, that white is supreme. It was also healing this. I didn't know that you could have relationships with people, be authentic, be about like solidarity, be about trust, and be of like radical friendships, radical relationships. Chosen family, because then I'm also at this point also coming into my queerness, something that like I knew from when I was very young, but when I was trying to like kind of come out, it was shut down by my family. So now I'm around like other Dominican women that are queer, that are identifying as queer, as lesbian. I'm around Dominican people that are identifying as gay, and that was like, and they were just living their best lives. It wasn't like it was a thing, but it wasn't a thing at the same time. Right. So I'm around people like Alicia Nabel Santos, Josely Castillo, who were the creators of the Sankofa Writers Retreat. Then they invite me to cook for that retreat, and that's where I discover my inner writer. Me invitaron a cocinar, yo salí de ahí escribiendo. I remember the Brawleys on this live after I came back to Washington Heights after that retreat. I was like, Brawley, I need to read you these poems I wrote.
I found my purpose.
It just felt like every other month it was like peeling layers of myself and like finding more and more and more healing. But also it was a really hard time because people were not recognizing me. I wasn't recognizing myself. Like I was really like excited and like very like in awe of all the things that I was discovering about myself, but I was also really scared to end up alone, to like put all this effort with these new people that I'm meeting that are comrades, but like my family is who is my anchor.
Right.
You know, my college friends are my anchor. My high school friends are my anchor. Are these people gonna be around?
Right.
Like, and I felt like but then I also felt like I couldn't really relate anymore. Todo para mi familia era un problema. If I would interrupt any anti-Haitian or anti-Black comment, it would be like, aquí viene Ysanet con su drama. If I was preparing like a shea butter, cocoa butter concoction for my skin because the lotions were not working for me, ay, Ysanet, tú tienes la casa toda grasosa.
O eso te va a poner más prieta.
Eso te va a poner más prieta, ajá. Or if what the food I was eating, you know, I was exploring different spices. I was exploring things like curry. Esto hiede. So it was, you know, it was an interesting time where I'm like, ah, but I'm also like really like fighting and proclaiming and being like, no, this is who I think I am. And like, maybe not, but like, can you just like stay with me for a moment and like not be so against what I'm exploring? And so yeah, so it was healing this part of me of wanting to fit in. It was healing, like I said, like this idea that relationship, like that you're the deepest relationships you will ever have are your family, which is not necessarily true for people that are queer, for people that transition their lives to be more about radicalness and consciousness and revolution, that we can create our chosen families, and those can be just as deep and meaningful and beautiful. And then it was also healing this part of me where, like, with Whole Foods, with the organizing, even though I was learning all this history, I yearned more and more to be back here. I was like, even if the DR is, you know, with doing these racist policies, even if DR está en esta lucha, I felt like in the United States we were also in a lucha. So I was like, if I'm gonna choose one, I'm gonna choose la lucha con mi gente. You know, I was like exhausted of like experiencing these cold winters in New York. I was exhausted of just living in around so much concrete, of having to plan so much of my life to have access to nature, of seeing like all the trauma in the subways, of witnessing so much like day in and day out. Y una de las cosas que I really admire about our people, I don't want to romanticize it, but I do admire que nosotros, aunque estemos pasando por cualquier lucha, siempre hay un plato de arroz o un plato de yuca para el vecino. There's always a plate of rice or a bowl of cassava for your neighbor. There's always enough to buy things for a sancocho. There's always enough to put on some music. Someone always has a speaker, and we could just sit outside and people watch and look at each other and just al mal, like, curate a joyful experience with very little. And that's what I missed. I missed just like hearing, you know, the roosters in the morning. I missed hearing the guagua being like, 15 plata, un peso. I miss hearing like la mujeres bochinchando. I miss visually seeing my people like be in joy, be in like, figure out like what were their struggles and how can I support, how can I leverage these things. And also healed. I think for a really long time I was really against like making money and like earning money. Like I remember I was making like up to $15,000 a year for a really long time. I think I started making like $40,000 a year in 2018 because I was so against capitalism and money. But what I realized is that once I started making a little bit of money, I could donate and give to the grassroots organizations, to the people, the collectives that were doing amazing work. And so this process and then also organized my relationship to money, and that money wasn't evil, capitalism was. Money no le hizo nada a nadie. Como nosotros, no nosotros, pero tú sabes, la gente que creó that dynamic with money.
That's so important, and I feel like that almost merits its own life.
Yeah.
You know, our relationship with money. And talking about money, I will share with those of you that are in this live that part of these conversations that we're having is part of this Yo Soy Mi Cura series, is to ignite and motivate people to go to our gift shop on this profile, because Casa Bienestar has gotten a piece of raw land that we are moving our tiny home to. And if you know, Ysanet knows what raw land means, no hay nada, you know, there's nothing there. That you have to create all of these sources of your basic necessities, you know, just even entering the land, creating pathways. So we are invite you to go to our profile link, watch our video, see what the link looks like, see what we are building there for everyone, really for everyone, being creating this wellness home that you can come to just 45 minutes outside of the city of Santo Domingo. But there we also, Ysanet, I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to go check it out, but we have like chakras, and we have the flower of life, and we have tarot readings, and we have obviously our signature Yo Soy Mi Cura retreats.
Yes.
That we hope to have you come over, come see this space, and have you enjoy what is it that we tailor for people, which is Ayurveda driven. And Ysanet, Ayurveda for me has transformed so many of these food discussions, because it's now vegetarian, it's now vegan. It's pretty much like whatever it takes to heal you is what, you know, is what's recommended to you.
Everybody is unique. Yeah, I have a.
Yes.
That's also another thing that that moving back to DR the second time around, take 2, has healed me. That I no longer subscribe. Like, I've explored so many things. Like when I first moved here, I did, like in 2020, I did adopt the alkaline diet. And that healed me. That healed specific things that needed healing in that moment.
Yes.
And that's another thing that I feel that this life has, this healing work, this decolonization has healed this like restriction part of me. Que si una vegan, tiene que ser vegan ya. Si una alkaline, tiene que ser alkaline. And it's like, no, like life is not so restrictive. Our people were not so restrictive. We are people that move with the seasons. We are people that move with the changes of our bodies. And when you become a mother, you need other things. That when you are in your early 20s, you need something specific. That when you turn 50, when you at some point are going to experience menopause, and we're going to need other things. Yes. And so it's like really meeting our needs. And I want to really uplift Bienestar, this Yo Soy Mi Cura retreats, because my chosen family, when I was going through a really dark moment here, I think the pandemic was still like really in the beginning stages. I went through a really traumatic experience, and my chosen family, Salvi and Heidi, reached out to you and put together like a full day and organized transportation and organized everything to get me to you. They're like, we need to get Ysanet to Angie. And they got me there, and you like really, like you nourished me. Like you and Miguel and your partner like really nourished me. And I was skeptical, to be honest. I was so like distraught that I was just like, yo en verdad yo tenía como la cabeza en el aire. I was not grounded, and you took me to the river. We did like this beautiful mountain view yoga session. You spoke to me about your studies, where you were like studying. You spoke to me about your own process with healing your womb. You guided me through so much. Miguel fed me amazing plant-based alkaline food. Oh my goodness, even desserts. And y'all really brought me back to life. And so I was able to return to Cabarete grounded. So the work you're doing is really important. And I know so many people in our diasporic community that have gone to Bienestar. I'm like, yes, qué bueno que llegaron. Like, I'm so happy they're there, because they're really in for a treat. And I'm really proud of all your growth, Angie. Like, and you are a testament of like our people are worth, like, we're worth sticking by. That maybe we're not all like at a conscious level that we feel we should, but just because of that does not mean that people need to, like, I know isn't that person is not woke enough, pero si la persona quiere, la persona se ve como que I don't know all of that, I don't agree with all of that, pero tell me more.
Sí. We giving each other grace, I guess, is what I'm also hearing you. As we need compassion, we are being compassionate with others and their path. And I think you've been compassionate with me, and so has Saudi. Has been, and that is what has kept our friendship, throughout our changes. We're still able to call on each other, and it feels like no tenemos tanto tiempo sin hablar, like us right now. We didn't even touch base on motherhood, which is like 100% of our time right now. But
maybe we're trying to
we are so
break.
present. We are so present with our, with this talk, with what our hermana that is across needs from us, what how we're going to be, like, you being there for me, although you're talking about yourself and about this healing. La realidad es que nuestra realidad ahora como madre, you sort of like la pusimos ahí, como que va a estar ahí cuando nosotros terminemos, but you're really holding space for Casa Bienestar right now, and just to know. Now that I didn't know, or we just have not connected on what the impact of that day that you were here, but nosotros hablamos de ti y tú también dejaste, tú sabes, donde quiera que tú vayas, eso es una cosa que ya tú sabes, que tú dejas impacto, simplemente por tú estar ahí. Eso es algo que yo sé también, and we really take responsibility for that, and you're taking a lot of responsibility for that for me right now, porque sharing what you just share is so unique. Ysanet, cuando uno escucha, como que I feel held,
Yeah.
Y Casa Bienestar, desde the beginning, con Saudi, fue como que necesitamos un espacio donde podamos llevar gente que está, que necesita hit. Like, necesita un espacio, a safe space to just go there and be, and be safe. And be safe. And in the moment, we didn't, not necessarily have all of these healing components of the yoga, of the massage. The food was probably the thing that's not going to get missed. Pero que for that place that we need to have, and people need to, to come feel held and taken care of, is healing. It's really like a place that que no importa lo que pasó, hay un abrazo para ti. Hay una manera así, aunque yo no te entienda, de que yo te pueda escuchar y te pueda tocar, the power of touch despite whatever, whatever narrative you heard. No, aquí hay que tocarse, aquí hay que abrazarse, aquí hay que masajearse, whether, you do it yourself in those retreats, or whether you get, a professional masseuse that does it for you. Aquí, ese es el punto. Y qué bueno, Ysanet, que tú sentiste eso y que pudimos deliver on that promise. I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, me too. No, it's one of those key moments in my life where I really felt held. And I would say that motherhood for me has felt like everything that we have spoken about has been a preparation for this.
Oh,
and
yes.
And I love it here. I love being a mother. I love being a parent. I love how much I love it.
Yes.
I think my child is really lucky to have me as a mother. I feel like I'm very lucky to have my child as my child. And it feels like a very full circle moment.
I need to have another live on mother, please.
Yes.
This is those comments are not going to do it for me, because there is a lot to learn. There is a lot of lessons that we can share on just being this mothers that heal, and mothers that are healing, and the wounds that we have healed to even be fully present for our children, and still confronting so much of our own evolution. So it's important to hold space properly for that knowledge and that information that is still rising.
Yeah.
For the both of us as new moms. So I'll just close with giving gratitude to you for this time. Gratitude to all of you that have just been really kind with your messages of shout outs. DM me directly. I'm so accessible. My number is there on my profile. Whatever questions you may have, whatever thing you feel that I can be of assistance, of light in your journey, aquí estoy. Y ahí está Ysanet en Cabarete, yo en Santo Domingo, here in the DR, a place that is flourishing and welcoming people that are, that want to transition into other places. This is a place, Ysanet, that I feel that where it can happen. So I am, cada vez que somebody asks me, should I go and move over there? I'm like, yes, you should. Come,
yes.
Come
please,
through.
Please come, porque mira, donde yo vivo alrededor de personas that come for like a week or 2 weeks, and then they love it and transition their whole families here, like así. And these are non-Dominican people.
Yeah.
And I really feel like this land is also our birthright, even if we were not necessarily born here. If you are a Dominican person, even if you're a Caribbean person, like, I really think that this country, I just want to see. I want to experiment. It's something I think will be really nice. I want to see what would happen if more Dominicans from the diaspora moved here. What kind of changes would we see? And I'm willing to bet a lot on that.
Me too.
Thank you, Angie. I love you so much. I'm so excited. Please support Bienestar. Yes, you will not just, I don't think you will, no one will regret it. It's really gonna be a life-changing experience.
Thank you, hermana.
Okay. Nos vemos. Bye.
Bye.